Hey guys, Joser here, welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to do some gaming on the new Hisense U7G. Now this is a 65-inch 4K HDR QLED TV that has HDMI 2.1 features like auto low game latency, Freesync Premium, EARC for enhanced audio, and it is also capable of 4K 120Hz or 1440p 120Hz. So in my previous video I went through an overview of this TV, including features, specs, operating system, even measurements. So I invite you to check that video if you want to learn more about it. Now this time I'm going to focus on gaming, and I'm also going to share my personal settings that I use. So welcome to the channel guys, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm Joster, and let's do this! Alright guys, so we're going to start with the Xbox setup. Let's go into the settings real quick. We're going to go into TV and display options, and then we have the resolution here. So we have 4K UHD, 1440p, 1080p, and 720p, which I'm happy to see that 1440p has a native resolution on this TV. So this works great with the Xbox Series X, also the One X, and also on PC, just in case if you want to connect your PC. Over here in refresh rate, we also have the option of 60 Hz or 120 Hz, and this works with 1440p as well. Let's go into the 4K TV details, and we have pretty much almost every check mark on green, except for the Dolby Vision. It's turned off. I turned off Dolby Vision on the Xbox, even though it does support Dolby Vision for gaming. But if I switch it on, the Dolby Vision on this TV doesn't have any game mode, so the input lag it is very high, so I don't want to use Dolby Vision game mode right now. So let's go over here in the general video modes, and we have pretty much almost everything selected except for Dolby Vision. And also this TV has HDMI VRR selected. Now also this TV supports AMD FreeSync Premium, but as I don't know if you guys remember my video from the UHD, it didn't support local dimming while using that. But there's something different about this. Now you guys notice that I have that one selected. Let's go into the TV picture real quick, and guess what? It does support local dimming. Even though I'm using HDMI VRR, it does support local dimming. So I'm glad to see that this TV has that option and with local dimming as well. Now there's a difference. Let's go over here into the TV settings real quick, advanced settings. This TV also offers FreeSync Premium. Right here it is. But I turn it off, and the reason being is because when I switch it on, then we'll lose local dimming. So that is the biggest difference. Now both of these VRR work pretty much the same. They reduce screen tearing, they reduce or eliminate screen tearing and stuttering while playing gaming. So I much rather use HDMI VRR and local dimming at the same time, because it works the same, and also the picture looks so much better. You get better contrast, deeper black levels. So that's the way I use it. So let's go into a game, shall we? Let's do this. Alright guys, so let's check first Red Dead Redemption 2. This is a classic game right here on the Xbox. It's also available on PlayStation 5, but look at this, how beautiful it looks. I mean, it's running at 4K 30 FPS, and I can clearly see that 30 FPS. I mean, once you get a taste of 60 FPS, going back to 30 frames per second, oh man, it is a difference, especially when you're panning the camera like this. But I'm glad the Xbox supports VRR, because even besides that, the image, the picture, the gameplay runs very good with no screen tearing, no stuttering, nothing. So yes, that is something that I like about this, a big advantage. Hopefully the PlayStation 5 will adapt that pretty soon, because it does help games, especially games like that are running a different performance. Now talking about performance, this TV has very low input lag at around 15 milliseconds. So it is very good for competitive gaming. It is very responsive. I play Warzone, this is my main game, and it is very demanding, so I need a reliable TV with low input lag, and I am super happy with the performance this TV has. Also, HDR gaming works great. Now even though it is limited to around 1000 nits, colors and overall picture looks beautiful. I'm glad to see that local dimming works with VRR and even 120Hz mode. But one of the biggest difference between this and the U8G are the dimming zones. Now the U7G 65-inch model only has 90 dimming zones while the U8G has 360 zones. So there is some noticeable blooming in dark scenes, especially if you are at an angle. So the best way to watch content is right in front of the TV. Alright guys, so now we're going to check Gears 5, and one thing about this game is that it has the support of 120 Hz. So let's go into the options right now. Let's go into the video, and as you guys can see, it's locked at 60. So if you want to get the 120 Hz, let's go into the settings of the Xbox real quick, and then we're gonna jump into TV and display options. And then right here we're going to switch this to 120 Hz. Yes, keep this new resolution, and that's pretty much it. Now one thing before we continue, be sure that on your TV, go over here HDMI format and make sure it's on the enhanced format. It's usually on standard, so you gotta switch this to enhanced format. That way you get the HDMI 2.1 features, and there it is. 3840 2160 at 120 Hz. So let's go back into the game. I might have to reset the game. Let's just double check real quick. So one quick suggestion guys, if you switch that 4K 120 Hz mode, make sure you restart the game, otherwise you're going to have some problems. What happened with me was that I didn't have HDR anymore. So let me just double check real quick. And yes, everything is working, 120 Hz, HDR 10. So just restart the game so that way you get all the features working properly. Alright guys, so let's jump into this game. And yes, this is running at 4K 120 Hz with HDR and HDMI VRR. So everything is working properly on this TV. I'm so happy to see that. Let's get... I can tell you right now, the game looks gorgeous. Oh, it's a flag. Oh, I am carrying the flag. Cover me. I don't even know where I have to go. But anyways, guys, this game looks very, looks and feels very responsive, very good. I don't know what I did. Did I win? We just won! Yes! Nice. Alright guys, so before we jump into another game, let me share with you the settings that I'm using right here while gaming on this TV. So this is going to be for SDR right now because this is not HDR, and the way you know is because right here in picture mode it says game. It doesn't say game HDR or HDR game. So over here we have different options, but of course I highly suggest for you to use game mode or game, because it's going to have the lowest input lag. This TV has around 15 milliseconds of input lag, and when you switch to 120 Hz, it usually drops around half of that, so it's usually for around 8 milliseconds while gaming on 120 Hz. So yes, you make sure you want to use game mode while using this TV. So over here, the backlight, we have local dimming. I highly suggest to use that on high. That way you get the better black levels, better contrast. The backlight level, since this is SDR, I usually have it at 80. That way you don't get clip on the brightness, clip whites. So this is the way I use it, level 80. Automatic light sensor, I switch this off, otherwise your TV will determine the brightness depending on the ambient light. You notice how it got a little bit dim. So that way I turn it off. That way I take advantage, full advantage of the brightness, and I have full control over it. So over here in contrast, I have it at 55, brightness is at 50, and then color I have it at 60. Tint, I left it in the middle. Sharpness, I removed sharpness all the way from the TV. And then over here, let's go into advanced settings. This is over here color temperature. I have it at mid-low, which is like warm 1 on Samsung TVs. All these other enhancements are not applicable because they increase input lag. HDR dynamic range is in automatic. active contrast. I have this one in medium. You can switch it off, but I noticed that when I use this on medium, at least on medium, you do notice some better contrast, at least some better shadow details. But this is totally optional. I really like how it works on medium. Alright, filmmaker mode is switch off. You don't want to use that. Color space. Every time I use SDR, I make sure the color space is a native. This way you get much better colors than if you use automatic. Now in HDR it's going to be different, but in native, if you like that color pop or saturation on colors, make sure the color space is on native. Over here, instant game response is already on, and then FreeSync is already switched off. As I mentioned, I don't like to use the FreeSync option from the TV because then you will lose that local dimming. I much rather use the HDMI BRR. And those are my settings when I'm using SDR content. Now let me go back to a game that supports HDR, and I'll show you my HDR settings. Alright guys, so now for HDR gameplay, I switched to the PlayStation 5 and I'm playing God of War. And this game looks gorgeous. I mean, look at this. Oh man. Actually, when I lost my PlayStation 4, when I made the switch from the 4 to the 5, I lost all my saves on this game, so I had to restart it again from the beginning. Which, you know, it sucks, but it's not a bad game, so I still enjoy it. It looks gorgeous. And now that the game runs at 4K and 60 Hz, it looks and plays so much better. I really like this. But let's go into the settings real quick, which are pretty much almost the same as the SDR, but I did make some changes. So over here in the backlight, of course, we're going to have the local dimming on high, but then the backlight level is going to be all the way to 100%. You guys notice HDR, you want to make sure that you have the most brightness possible all the way up, especially in the backlight. Do not use that brightness because this only increases the white levels. So you're going to have more like sort of like faded colors. You don't want that. Then over here, picture mode, also use HDR game mode. That way you get the lowest input lag possible, the best gameplay and the best experience possible while gaming. Now contrast, I have it at 50, brightness same as 50, and then color, I also have color, I increase the color to 62. Now the reason being is because this is just my choice, guys. I like to have colors a little bit more saturated, not oversaturated, but I want the colors to pop, especially in gaming, because you know, gaming is just a fantasy game, it's not real life. So I want colors to stand out, and I feel like color at 62 looks very good. I like it. So sharpness, I also remove sharpness. You don't need that. Let's go to advanced settings. Color temperature, I have this one at mid-low, just same as SDR. And then we also have the motion clearness, which is BFI. Honestly, I don't like using BFI. It just I see a lot of flicker, and then sometimes the screen gets dim, so I don't like using that. Dynamic HDMI dynamic range is in automatic. Active contrast is same as medium. And then color space, this is another thing that it changes. Color space is in automatic. Now same as SDR, if you switch to native, you'll notice that actually I don't see any much of a difference, native and automatic. Well, I usually use this in automatic while HDR. I can't see any significant difference right now as I did when I was switching on SDR. But this is how I always have used this, color space in automatic while using HDR game. Alright, so that's it for the settings. And let's go back to the game. HDR 10, 60 Hz. Man, this game looks amazing. Alright guys, so another beautiful game right here on the PlayStation 5. Of course, is one of my favorite too, is Spider-Man Miles Morales. This game runs beautiful. It has different setups for either resolution or performance. I'm going to show you right now. Right here, let's go into the menus real quick. Let's go into the settings, and then let's go into visuals. And then I'm using the performance mode, so it's performance with ray tracing, and it's running at 60 FPS, or you can run a fidelity, which is running at 30 FPS, and then performance, which is 60 FPS. Temporal techniques provide 4K picture from a low resolution base. Honestly, I really like the performance mode. I'm not sure if this is native 4K, but it does look very sharp. It does look very beautiful, and the gameplay is super smooth. So this is my preference, performance with ray tracing, and you can actually see the ray tracing, the reflections. It does look beautiful. Look at this. Look at these reflections. Oh my goodness. So anyways, guys, this is the, remember, this is a Hisense U7G. This is the 65-inch version. It sells for $1,100. Last time I checked on Amazon, they had it for $1,000 even. So if you go check out the link in the description if you want to go buy one of these TVs, and I think it's a really good value for what you're getting. You know, you're getting this HDMI 2.1 performance modes, all these enhancements and features, ray tracing. Well, that belongs to the game, but besides that, this TV has quantum dot technology. So yes, colors and everything looks great. 1000 nits of peak brightness, 90 dimming zones, VRR. I mean, what else can you get for $1,000 for a 65-inch TV, right? I think it's a really good deal. So be sure to check out the link if you want to save some money and want to buy it right now and take advantage of this beautiful picture. Otherwise, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I noticed that 90% of my viewers are not even subscribed, so it'll help out a lot if you enjoy this content and would like to subscribe to the channel. If you want or you have a request for a specific game, let me know in the comments as well. As always, thank you so much. I'm Jolster, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Jolster out.